Excuse me. Morning, everyone. We'll start the class in a few minutes. Our flow today will include Trikonasana and Ardha Chandrasana. That's triangle pose and floating half moon. So if you know that that transition is a little bit challenging for you, or if you have slightly tight hamstrings perhaps, or prefer not to come all the way to the floor in Trikonasana. And that lot depends on the length of your legs, the length of your arms, and the stretch within your back. Sometimes we achieve a better posture if we're not going straight for the floor. You'll get a better alignment. So use a block. If you have a block, or improvise if you've got a nice big dictionary or a great big recipe book tome that you've never used, like my copy of Mrs. Beeton, that can be quite handy for supporting you in Trikonasana and indeed in Ardha Chandrasana, floating half moon. Ideally, you should be floating, but if your balance isn't with you this morning, and we don't know yet, or I don't know yet about mine either, then it might be handy to have a block. So just take a few moments to gather together any equipment you may need. Have a drink of water now if you need one, so that you're hydrated at the start of class. Although it's probably too late if you're dehydrated, because it can take 8 to 12 hours for the body to rehydrate. So bear that in mind. If you feel thirsty, they say it's already too late. That's your body telling you you're already dehydrated. So the wisdom is to stay hydrated so that you don't need to take water during a class. But if you do, then you do. So let's begin the class. Bring your mind into focus. Direct your mind towards the breath. Observe the breath. Observe how your body moves when you breathe. From the nostrils, the breath enters the mouth, the throat cavity, the upper chest. Collarbones lift, ribcage expands, diaphragm drops down, belly domes. Pelvic floor is engaged also. So observe these processes. The breath is the only part of the autonomic nervous system over which we have some control. Direct control. So everything that's going on in your body, your digestion, your cleansing, your repair, fighting infection, all that stuff goes on, but the breath you have control over, both in the sense that you can direct your breathing, but also that you can get direct feedback on the state of your body from your breath. So notice any areas where your breath doesn't flow freely. Maybe it feels a bit stuck, a bit held. Maybe you're inhibited from letting your belly dome. Years of thinking you've got to squeeze into tight clothing or preserve a tiny waistline, or a flat stomach. Just make those observations. Relax the hands by the side of the body. Inhale, draw your shoulders up by your ears, and exhale as you release. That one more time. Inhaling up to the ears, exhaling to release. Inhale, take the shoulders forward, up, back, and down. Keep going with that. Inhaling up, exhaling as they come down. Big circles drawing forward, up, back, and down. Change direction, inhaling as the shoulders come together at the back of the body, up and over, exhale. As if you're drawing on an overcoat. Float the backs of the hands up to the ceiling, turn the palms up and draw them back down again. Do that once more. Now to the side, backs of the hands lead towards the ceiling, flip the palms and bring them back down again. Okay. Inhale, float the arms up, take one arm down to the mat and let's do a side bend. Inhale to the center and exhale to the other side. Inhale to the center, exhale to the center. Let's come onto all fours, do some cat-cow curls. Set up your box position, knees under hips, hands under shoulders. Be aware today of your alignment, wrists under shoulders, soft at the elbows. So have that awareness for when we come into plank, side plank in a moment. Exhale, round the spine, look towards your thighs, draw your belly up. And now as you inhale, let your belly sink down. Tailbone comes up, chest and chin lifts, throat opens. 2 more of those. Exhaling as you round. Inhaling as you come up. 1 more. Oh, my hair's escaped. Hair's put on weight in lockdown, as have other parts. 1 more. Inhale. And then sit back on your heels in Balasana, child's pose. Inhale, come back up again. Turn the hands out to the sides, point your fingertips to the side of the mat. So you're like a sea lion. Engage the inner elbows, spin them forward, draw the belly up. And you can stay here, or if it feels okay for you, draw the wrists forward and the fingertips all the way back so they face your knees. If that's too much for your wrists, then release. If you're feeling fine and it's not too strong, you can take your weight slightly back. That's going to increase the stretch in the wrists. Those of you who know Simbasana, want to do a lion's roar, let's do that now. We inhale, we draw the shoulders back and down, look up, stick your tongue right out. Bring your attention to your Ajna chakra and sigh. 2 more of those. And 1 more. Gently release the hands, turn them the other way, maybe one at a time or both together if you can. Stretch out the backs of your hands. And then draw back to your heels and stretch out. So in class, that quite often makes people giggle, the Simbasana, the lion's roar. So you can do it in your privacy of your own home. Presumably not many people around at 7:30 in the morning. Come forward onto all fours. We're going to do side plank and versions of. We'll start with modified gate pose. Take your left foot out to the side, slide your right foot down the mat. Try and get your knee more or less under your hip here and stretch up, opening the chest, opening the side body. So this is your alternative to plank if you feel it too much in your shoulder, alternative to side plank. When we do our flow, we're going to do both side plank or this as an option. So come back to the center, and we'll do that on the other side. Right foot comes out, excuse my back, left foot slides away. Line up, hip over knee. Oh, trousers falling down. And open the chest, open the shoulder. So that's your low option in side plank. If you are strong in your plank, come into it now. You can keep your knees down otherwise. If you're in full plank, make sure your head is in line with your heels and that you're not sagging in the middle. Press lightly into your little fingers so that you arch ever so slightly in the upper back. Plank. To come into side plank, roll over on the left foot and either stack your feet one on top of the other, stagger your feet so the right foot's in front, or the right foot can come all the way up to the mat, up the mat. You can press into your heel to get some lift here. So you've got lots of options for your side plank. Inhale back to center, stretch the legs away, come to 3/4 plank, stretch out the back, and we'll go on the other side. I'm just going to whiz around so you can see me on the other side. Plank first, or 3/4 plank. To move into side plank, make sure your shoulder is stacked over your wrists, and again your feet can stack, or you can stagger, or you can use the flying buttress. Come out of it via plank. We'll come into down face dog this time. Stretch the bottom up towards the ceiling, heels down towards the floor, chest towards the thighs. Press into the fingertips to lighten off the wrists. One more big stretch here. Remember, you're a dog. Those of you who've got dogs, how they stretch out in the morning. Then soften your knees. Walk them to your hands. And we'll up to standing in Tadasana, ready for our flow sequence. So stand in Tadasana at the front of your mat. Have your block quite handy to the front of your mat. That's where we'll need it. Or do we need it on the other side? It might be a good idea to have one each end if you've got one. If you've got two. Inhale, take the arms up and over. Exhale, come into a deep forward fold. Inhale, bend the knees, take your right leg back into lunge. Engage your inner thighs here. Stabilize your pelvis. Draw the chest and chin forward and up. Bring your back heel down. Take the arms up and over. We're coming into warrior two. Block there. Inhale and exhale, shoulders over hips. Come a little deeper if you can. So set up your warrior two, open your hips to the long side of your mat, eye gaze down your front fingers, trying to get that front thigh parallel to the mat. We inhale here, flip the front palm, Vipariti Virabhadrasana. Stay low in the hips, open the chest, feel that lovely stretch in the side body. From here, front arm comes down, back arm comes up. Utthita Parsvakonasana, side angle pose. Open your chest to the ceiling. From here, we're coming into Trikonasana, triangle pose. So straighten both legs, straighten both arms. You may need here to hop the back leg in a little bit so that you can get a good alignment. Now, for some of you, you may be able to come all the way to the floor. Some of you may benefit from having a block just inside your left inner ankle. The aim here is to get the chest open and the spine long. You don't want to be slumping in an effort to reach the floor. You want to keep the integrity in the pose. Hold here. Inhale, bend into the front leg. Float the back leg up. You may need to hop it in a little. Your fingers may need the block, or you may be able to float here without the block. Got my head slightly too near the piano. A bit worrying. Turn the toes down, stretch away. From here, we're going to rotate the chest, bring both hands down to the floor or to the block, and come into standing split. So you're going to tuck your brow in towards your shin and lift that upper leg as much as possible. Now we draw the right leg back down. We're coming into lunge. Adjust your position as you need to. Press into both hands. Bring your front foot back into plank. Here's where we come into side plank. So from plank, before we go into Ashtangasana, Bhujangasana, we're going to come over into side plank or modified gate pose. Inhale, transition back into plank. Hold your breath in plank. Kumbhakasana. Kumbhaka is a vessel of retention. Exhale, drop to the knees and tuck the toes. Ashtangasana, draw through. Bhujangasana. Exhale into downward facing dog. Lift high. Heels down. Stretch out here. You can easily get your heels to the floor. Try lifting your toes. Gives a slightly different sensation in the stretch. Inhale here. Bring the right leg all the way forward between the hands to lunge. Help it if you need to. Still engaging through your left thigh. Pull your left thigh up from the mat. Exhale, draw your left foot forward. Inhale up and over. Exhale, hands to your heart center. I'm going to the other side so you can see better. You can change ends. If you do change ends, take your block with you. Inhale, up and over. Exhale, forward, fold. Inhale again, left foot lunges. Exhale, come up and over, warrior two. Take extra breaths here. Inhale and exhale to set up your warrior two. Inhale, Vipariti Virabhadrasana. Exhale, Utthita Parsvakonasana. Stretching your fingertips away from the blade of your back foot. Inhale, Trikonasana. Find your length here if you can. Adjusting the feet if you need. Have a block here if you need it to. We're coming into floating half moon. So bend the front knee. Start to hop the back leg in. If you've got a sticky mat, that will be harder because you stick, as its name suggests. Find your focus. Eye gaze down, your front thumb. Lift the back leg. Toes point down. Hips are closed. Chest is open. Maybe you need the block. Now we're going to transition. Gently float the left arm down. Come into standing split. From your standing split, come into lunge and then draw the front foot back into plank. Hold your plank, drop to your knees if you need to for modified gate pose, or come into side plank. If you're an experienced yogi and you want to lift that top leg into tree pose, or you can get hold of your toes with yogi toe lock and lift your leg up if you want to. Inhale, come into plank when you're ready. Hold the breath. Knees, chest and chin come to the mat, or take chaturanga if it's in your practice. Coming through into upward facing dog or bhujangasana. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, bring the left leg all the way to the front of the mat. Help it if you need to. Exhale, bring your right leg in to join it. Forward fold. Inhale, up and over. Exhale, hands come to your heart center. Inhale again, arms up and over. Exhale, Utkatasana. So this is sometimes known as chair pose or awkward chair. Its name is intense pose or fierce pose. You want to tuck the tailbone under, keep the chest open. Should feel it in your quads. Maybe you feel it in your buttocks as well. The more you tuck the tailbone under, the more you'll also feel it in your lower abdominals. Draw the shoulder blades together, find strength here. Inhale, bring the palms together, come back up again. Exhale. Inhale. Arms up and over. Exhale, you can keep the arms lifted here, or you can bring them down to your chest. Make sure you're breathing. Take it a bit lower if you can. Inhale, arms come down, up and over. Exhale, come down. So you've got the option here of lifting your heels, but make sure if you do that, you don't put the weight into your knees. You keep tucking your tailbone under. Otherwise, keep your heels down. If you're lifting your heels, you might find it helpful to take your arms out in front. Wherever you are, we're going to come down, 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 down. You've got your heels lifted here. You can think about taking a twist to one side and a twist to the other. So we're twisting, we're balancing. Now come back to the middle and come down to the floor as elegantly as you can. We're coming into boat pose. So sit with your feet on the floor. Start drawing your feet a little nearer towards you, keeping your spine long. Keep your chest lifted. Draw your shoulder blades together. Engage your lower abdominal muscles and lift your heels. From here, you may be able to float one shin up. You may be able to float two shins up. Maybe you need your hands to the floor, or maybe you can float your palms up towards the ceiling. Navasana, boat pose. Hold it here if you can. If you want to make it more challenging, see about stretching the legs away, in which case your drishti, your eye gaze, goes to your big toes. Hold here. Use your breath. Keep lifting your chest as much as you can. Cross your feet at the ankles. Hold on here. Draw your feet towards your hips. Roll forward onto all fours and take a couple of cat-cow stretches to release off the spine. Cross your feet at the ankles, roll back over again. I'm going to do one more round. Seated up, perched up on your sit bones. Lift the heels, draw the knees together. Ardha Navasana, half boat pose, or Paripurna Navasana, full boat pose, holding on or not. If you want to come into a more demanding pose, make sure you've got plenty of soft mat behind you, because there is a real tendency, if you lose your balance, that you'll roll backwards here. You can try drawing your chest right up towards your thighs and try and get your toes and your crown to face the ceiling. That's quite a balancing act. Concentrate on your breath. If you roll over backwards, don't worry about it. That's our next pose anyway. Again, cross the feet at the ankles, roll forward, and do a couple of cat-cow curls. Cross the feet at the ankles. Find that upright position again, seated upright with bent legs, and we're coming down to the floor. Slowly does it, using your abdominal muscles if you can. When you get there, hug your knees into your chest. So if you rolled into Halasana, we're going back there now. And if you didn't, press your hands into the mat by your hips and send your feet up to the ceiling. Flex your feet and draw them apart. You can stay here. If plow pose isn't for you, you can stay here in this position, a lovely inversion for the legs, or you can edge your way to the wall and bring the backs of your legs or your heels or your buttocks up to the wall for support. Otherwise, press your fingers into the mat, lift your buttocks up and overhead and come into Halasana, plow pose. Pressing your hands into the mat. Maybe your toes come to the floor, maybe they don't. If you've got a block here somewhere, you can put that under your feet if it's within reach. If it's in your practice and you want to come up to shoulder stand, press the hands into the hip girdle, the lower back, point the toes up to the sky and stretch away. Sarvangasana or shoulder stand. Hold. So from here, gently float down into plow pose, Halasana. If you're in Halasana, we're going to come down, if we can, one vertebra at a time. If you've still got your legs up towards the ceiling, you can stay there, that's fine. Or legs up the wall, you can stay there too. Those of us in Halasana are going to make our way down slowly and with control. And when you get there, your counter pose, if you've been in shoulder stand, is fish pose. To come into fish pose, you want to take one hand under each buttock, open the chest, bring your shoulder blades together, press down through your forearms, lift up your chest and come onto the crown of your head. That's my microphone. So if you're in fish pose, Matsyasana, stay for 3 to 5 breaths and gently draw your way out of it. Come down to the floor. If you've got your legs up, then hug them into your chest, roll away from the wall, and bring your feet back down to the floor. If you want to take a neck stretch here, if you've been in shoulder stand or plow pose, bring your hands to the back of your neck and just draw your chin to your chest and lift up lightly. Don't pull in the neck here, just open out the back of the neck if you can. And then we're all going to come into Supta Baddha Konasana. Bring your inner thighs together, bend your knees, bring the soles of your feet together as you open your thighs to the side. Bring your hands to the inner thigh for extra stretch, or support your thighs with your hands. Or bring your hands to your belly and observe the breath. So as we did at the beginning, notice which bits of your body are moving with your breath. Remember, if you notice that any bits seemed a bit stuck, sticky, sluggish, reluctant to move, and see if they've opened up now. In particular, having worked a little on opening the hips, is your belly a bit more engaged in your breath? Having stretched off the side body, have your side ribs opened a little more with your breath. Having engaged the abdominals, having rippled through the back in cat-cow curls, is there a little bit more movement in your spine as you breathe? Are you holding at the throat, the shoulders, in the jaw? Is your face slightly frozen, or is it soft and relaxed? Bring your hands to your outer thighs, gently draw your inner thighs together, stretch the legs away, open the feet, sink your body down into the mat. We're coming into Shavasana. Open your palms to the ceiling, backs of the hands to the floor. So quite a slow flow this morning, but some quite intense moves. Do get in touch and let me know how these classes are working for you. I can plan them according to who I think is receiving them. I've no way of knowing who's out there, how much experience you've got. If you're finding these are moving too quickly, then go back to the YouTube channel, look at the classes that were in late May, early June. If they're too slow for you, then do let me know. But equally, bear in mind that nothing is ever lost in a slow practice. In yoga, you always have the opportunity to work deeper into a pose and to discipline your mind. To deepen your breath. And to open your realization of who you really are. If this day affords you the luxury of a little more time, stay in Shavasana. Connect to your breath. Connect to your ultimate reality. And if you have to go, gently start bringing movement to the body. Draw your knees into your chest, roll them gently from side to side. Rolling over to your side when you're ready. And drawing yourself up to a seated position. Whether you're staying in Shavasana or whether the rest of your day is beginning to intrude. Have a great day. Have a lovely weekend, and I hope you'll join me next week. Namaste.